guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school age. We are in our 12th year homeschooling this year. I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you are not already subscribed, so you are notified of all of my future videos. And I'd also love for you to come check out our brand new Patreon community, the Townsend House Patreon community. We started just a couple of weeks ago. So far, we've had a lot of really great discussion. I will leave a link for that in the description box if you are interested. Today, I'm going to be chatting all about our homeschool update for January. So let's get started. Okay guys, usually I will do these updates and I will have coffee, and I kind of need some coffee, but my throat is really dry, so I'm drinking water right now. But this January, I feel like has been such a reverse of how our fall went. If you are new and you are not caught up on all of the craziness that was our fall, you may want to go back and watch some of my homeschool updates from the fall, or even just my mid-year update that I posted at the beginning of January. In the fall, my oldest daughter was participating in public school activities and also band at the public school, and so we were just out straight. And I know that there are a lot of people that have classes and other commitments and activities throughout the week that they are involved in. However, it was a real challenge for us, and it wasn't a new thing. Emma has been involved in public school band since she was 8 or 9, so it's not like a new thing. But the high school, it was a little bit different because it was an alternating schedule multiple times a week, right in the middle of the day, and the transition time and travel time to get her back and forth was really a struggle. But we stopped doing band in December, and so it has been really a breath of fresh air to have this January not have anything not being tied to somebody else's schedule. I think that is the main thing. And we really just had a great January. Every month, I will sit down and go through what went well and the challenges that we had during my monthly reset day. It's just a time that I set aside each month to work on planning, to work on homeschool management for the next month, and just to figure out how I'm doing, work on goals, all of that stuff. When I sat down last week and went through my homeschool that we had been doing, I felt really good. Now, part of that was because when we started up homeschool from our long winter break, we take 6 weeks off between Thanksgiving and New Year's. We did not have anything on the schedule for the first few weeks in January. There were no outside activities. We did have some time with friends. We did get together with some people, but it was outside of our normal homeschool day, so it wasn't really an impact. There was no impact on our homeschool day. So we just started in January and were able to get into a good rhythm for homeschool. I really focused on a homeschool block, which I tend to do anyways, but I changed up our homeschool block a little bit. We started school a little bit earlier. We've never been a family to start school at a specific time. I've always prioritized my kids sleeping as much as possible. And so if they sleep in and we don't start school until 10, that is fine. In the fall, it was a little bit harder to do that because Emma was in band and we really needed to get out of the house at like 9:45 in the morning. So everybody was a little bit more stressed in the fall. But the past few weeks have been really good. I have been right on top of my homeschool planning, which I think is a big help. When I sit down on Sunday and plan out our week and have the kids' lists ready on Monday morning, and we go through those lists together so that they know what is expected of them through the end of the week, it has been nice. It's been really nice. I am so pleased with how diligent the kids have been. I talked about this a little bit in my monthly goals video as well. If you're interested in that, I will have a link in the description box so that you can go check that out. But focusing and refocusing on the things that are important to us in our homeschool has been really wonderful for me. I think that in the fall, I was definitely a little bit more worried about what we were getting done. Not that we weren't getting our schoolwork done, we were, But we didn't have a lot of time for the extra things. And I find it so important for my kids to have buy-in to their school, because when they have a buy-in to the different subjects and topics that they are studying, they are more likely to remember them and not just try and get through something. I never want education to be a slog for my kids. Will it be a slog? Absolutely. Emma is doing geometry right now and hates it. And every day when she asks me, "How do you use geometry, Mom?" I really struggle. It's hard having a questioner as a high school student. I'm just going to put that out there. If you've ever read Gretchen Rubin's Four Tendencies, my oldest daughter, who is in high school, is a questioner. It's hard. So, I don't want my kids to feel like school is a burden. I want them to be excited about learning. And so I try to give them a lot of freedom in what we're learning, as well as hitting on the things that I think are important. But in the fall, we didn't really have a lot of that time to work on the passion projects and the things that the kids really enjoy about our homeschool. And so we brought a lot of that back in right at the end of November, right before we started our homeschool break. But then we really got into a good rhythm of it in January. A lot of that is sitting and reading aloud to my kids. All of my kids, even my older kids, love to sit and I will read a book. And as I'm reading, we have a ton of discussion. Discussion-based homeschooling has been amazing for us, reading good quality literature and discussing it, as well as personal development books and history books and nonfiction, all kinds of stuff that we read and discuss together. It does make reading aloud. We don't get through as many books because, I'll read a paragraph and then we'll talk for 25 minutes about one thing and then just keep going to other things. I try to keep us on topic, but there is definitely a lot of discussion, and we didn't have that time in the fall. And so it has been really nice to sit down, especially with my older two, because as they get into the teenage years, they have a lot more things going on in their mind that they want to discuss, different things in the culture, different things in society, different things that they're interested in, big emotions, all of that stuff. And I want to have the room to have those discussions with my kids and make those, grow those relationships with them. That's a big part of homeschooling older kids, I think. So it has been really, really nice to sit down and have those discussions with my kids and have the space in order to do it. Now, we have had a few challenges. It's mainly with Emma and the Apologia Biology, which I talked a little bit about in one of my homeschool updates recently. It might have been the fall one, it might have been the mid-year one, but biology has been a challenge. We got the Apologia Biology because she was very interested in veterinarian science. And so I thought we need a strong science program, of which Apologia is a great, strong science program. I conveniently forgot about all of the vocabulary in biology, and Emma she is just tired of trying to memorize vocabulary for biology. So it's been a little bit more challenging that way. We are getting through the content and we will finish the course this year, but it has put me in a bind as to what I'm going to do for chemistry next year, or if we're going to do some sort of different type of science. She's done physical science and she's done biology now, and I know that she needs chemistry. And I think that she will actually enjoy chemistry because she does really enjoy algebra. And I really love algebra and chemistry. And so I think it might be a little bit easier to work on that next year. Yes, it's just February and I'm already starting to think about next year. And I think that's partly because it's cold in Maine in February, partly because we are, I'm recognizing where I need to make changes and different things that I want to touch on, the things that I want to concentrate on that I know that we won't be able to focus on in the next few months. We are getting down to the wire. We'll be done with school at the end of April. I think that's when I have everything. There might be maybe 2 weeks more of lessons in Spanish and math for my 2 older kids, but everything else should be done by the end of April. So I am starting to think about next year. And then again, geometry for Emma, she's just not a fan. She does not like all of the proofs and the theorems. It's not great for her. She doesn't enjoy it. I have thought about getting the Life of Fred geometry, and I have this book that she has been also working through, which she does enjoy going through this a little bit more. Probably just, I don't know why. Because she's going through this after I've had her go through those sections in teaching textbooks. It's just to kind of shore up where she is. She's doing good. She has an A in the class, but it's really been a slog for her to get through the content. We have been taking a little bit longer on the lessons than I think that she would really like. Lucy has been diligent about getting her schoolwork done first thing in the morning. She knows that she has to do a math lesson. She knows that she has to do handwriting. She knows that she has to read in her book. She has finished all of the readers, and so we have moved on to not the level 3 readers, although I may start those soon with her, because next year I think she will be in level D, which is year 1 of 2 of American history, and the books are completely different. That's when they start tying in Sunlight, level D, Sunlight. That's when the readers start tying into the history portion of the level. So I think I may have her go through level 3 starting soon and through the summer, but she has been reading the books that she got for Christmas, and because she just finished the last book in the level 2 a week and a half ago. So she has been reading her Christmas books instead, which is also fine. I want to encourage her to read whatever she wants. She really made a lot of progress in reading in 2022. So seeing her want to pick up books has been really encouraging to me. And we're still working through Story of the World, level 2, medieval times. It's been really fun to go through those stories. I like that book quite a bit. We do not use the Children's History of the World, which is part of levels B and C from Sunlight. We've never used that book. I actually loaned it to my sister-in-law so that she could use it with her kids. But I've always used Story of the World, and I've used it many times now. We've done it for all of the elementary years, and then we've done it for middle school for Emma and Jack, and now we're going through the elementary years again with Lucy. So I'm going to continue using the Story of the World. We've been enjoying that quite a bit. The read alouds for level C, Lucy has not been as much of a fan of. Emma loved all of the read alouds, and Lucy has just not enjoyed them as much. It could be any number of reasons why she's not enjoying the read alouds. I think that some of it is because she does listen in on some of the books that I read to Emma and Jack. I try to do read alouds that are appropriate for everybody, and obviously Emma's much older than Lucy, and it's a little bit different, but she still enjoys all of the fantasy books that I read aloud. Really, I think that I just need to find a good series that will interest her. We have been reading through Harry Potter. We're almost done with book 2, but I think because Emma and Jack have loved Harry Potter so much over the years, that made Lucy not want to try it. She does enjoy it, and she has watched some of the movies, which my older 2 did not watch any of the movies until after we read the books. So it's been a little bit different, but I don't know, if you have siblings, you may relate to this. I know that when I was younger, my brother loved Star Wars. I mean, he still loves Star Wars. So I wanted nothing to do with Star Wars. I did not watch any of the Star Wars movies growing up. I didn't read any of the books or any of that stuff until whenever the prequels started coming out. Episode 1, I think I went and saw in the theater. It was in the 90s, I'm sure. But that was my first experience with Star Wars, and I just didn't care. So I think that that's kind of, Harry Potter might be that way for Lucy. She really wants to watch the movies. She doesn't want to listen to the books. She is much more visual that way. We're doing well. I'm really pleased with all of the work that she has been doing. Jack has been doing much better with main studies. We have moved away from some of the people aspect of the main studies book that we're working through, things like the governors, things like famous authors from the state, all of that stuff. We've moved into more of the geography side, things like, the rivers and lakes and streams, the counties, the cities, making maps, and working on the forts. That's what Jack has been doing this past week. And so I think that he's enjoying that much more, going through the maps and doing the maps and stuff, rather than looking up people who he has no interest learning about at all. But everything else for him is going great. Like I said, he does sit in on the read alouds with that I'm doing with Emma, which right now we are almost done with book 8 in A History of Us from Joy Hakeem. She has a whole series, and we did level 100 a couple of years ago with Emma. We did not do books 8, 9, and 10. If you have ever looked at the Sunlight level 100, it is a monster of a level. It is so much reading. And so we dropped the last few books, more, 20th century history, which is okay. I'm not that concerned about it because we spent so much time on, all of the history before that. So she did get credit for that US history course. But we are I wanted something to do with the kids to read aloud. And so we've been doing that. We've been watching some of the docu-series on the History Channel, The Men Who Built America, The Food That Built America, The Toys That Built America, how that kind of coincides with some of the people that we've been talking about in our history read aloud. So that's been going great. So I haven't had too many challenges. The challenges are mainly that I need to make sure that I get the kids' homeschool planned on Sunday and that I give them their lists on Monday. If I do those two things, which I did the last 4 weeks, except for 1 week, the week of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we were delayed I was delayed in my planning for that week, but Martin Luther King Jr. Day is different in our homeschool. We don't do our normal stuff. So I'm really pleased with how things are going. We have just a couple of weeks before we're taking our first break of this new term. I decided coming back into homeschool in January that we would do 6 weeks on, 1 week off, and I think that the kids are really excited about that. I'm really excited about that. That week off, I think, however, is going to be more focused on passion projects. It's not going to be it's going to be a vacation week, but it's not going to be a vacation week where we're going away. It's going to be a week where they're able to work more on their own individual projects. It's not just going to be a free-for-all. And it's also going to be a week where I can focus on a lot of my own projects and just getting things ready for the spring. I don't know if I will do any spring cleaning that week. I haven't really figured out what we're going to do, but we have 2 weeks left. The next couple of weeks, they are going to be finishing up their research projects that they've been working on. Emma and Jack have been working on for this 6-week term, but they will take a break from math and science and Spanish, and history we probably won't be doing. I will still do read alouds with the kids because I try to do that every day regardless. It's not as much a part of our homeschool day as it is just a part of our life. But overall, I'm really pleased. Now, it could be that the reason that things have gone so well is because we had that nice long break at Christmas, which we do every single year. It could be that the kids know that we have a break coming up, so they will be able to rest from their typical daily work. It could be that we have really focused on mom school for the first half of the day and then passion projects the second half of the day. I think that we have just made a bunch of changes to our weekly rhythm, and it has really worked well for us. Another thing that we are doing that isn't really related to homeschool but does kind of impact it is that each week we are taking a screen-free day. And during that screen-free day, the kids aren't necessarily working on their passion projects in the way that they normally would, mainly because their passion projects, a lot of them are screen related. Jack is creating a video game in Unreal Engine and using Blender to create characters, and Emma does a lot of animation and drawing on her iPad, and obviously those things are not happening on a screen-free day. But we have made it into a day where they're also not using screens for school. They are still doing school, but they're not watching videos and doing a lot of online work. It's been a little bit different to take a step back, because especially Emma and Jack have a lot of stuff that they do online for school. For Emma, she does her math in a kind of analog/digital way with teaching textbooks. I always print out her lesson every day, and she goes through it and does all of the problems on paper. She really needs to do that. And then she will go in and enter the answers into the computer, but she just does the answers the next day. So it's just a little bit different. She does sometimes do Spanish, because Spanish, we use BJU Press. It's 180 lessons, and that it's a big course. All of the BJU Press online courses are big courses, and so we do have to double up some days just to make it through through the year on time. But so sometimes she will still watch her videos for Spanish and then work on her stuff. But for the most part, we have been taking that day and mainly reading and playing board games and having a lot more discussion. Last week, Emma and I just sat down and talked for a couple of hours. It wasn't really school related. It was kind of just life related about, figuring out career paths and thinking about next year, what types of classes she wants to do, if she wants to enroll in college classes this summer, which she is able to do. She was able to do that this year too, but she chose not to. So I'm just really pleased with how the month has gone. And I am hopeful that we will finish out the rest of the year strong. I think that we were all kind of just really worn down after the fall and being out of the house all of the time, whether it was for band or getting to cross-country meets or just getting out of the house to do library trips and all of that stuff. We never felt like we were really settled into a rhythm because we were on the go so much. And for me, that doesn't work for our family. My kids want to be able to have a lot more control over their days. And some days that means that Emma does school from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. because she takes 4 large breaks during the day, and she'll go run on the treadmill, or she'll make some sort of creation in the kitchen, or she will go and just read a book for a couple of hours, and that is not at all school related. And I want her to have that freedom to be able to do that, to structure her days the way that she wants to, while still getting her work done. And it's the same thing for Jack. He knows that if he finishes his school, when he finishes, he's able to move on to his passion projects. And so he's been very diligent about his time. Lucy, it's different because, she is just 8 and all of her school is mom focused, and I am really directing all of that, but she's been great about getting her school done. Yeah. So it's really nice because last fall was a slog and a struggle for us, and I didn't want that. And this spring, I think, is going to be, or this winter/spring term is going to be much better for all of our sanity. Yes. So that's kind of an update for you. I'm not going to talk about the books that we were reading today. I think I'm going to do a separate book video because I read 23 books in January, and my kids read a lot of their Christmas books as well as some of the books that they're reading for school. Jack actually is pretty much done. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times, that he has read all of the books that I chose for the year that he is going to read. There were maybe 3 or 4 that he just had no desire to read at all, and there are too many good books in the world for me to force them to read books that they just despise. I don't find it worthwhile. I know that some people are probably going to be like, oh, sometimes you just have to read a book. And I just have a different mindset, I think, because they can still learn if they're choosing a different book. It's not that he's just stopped reading. It's just that he's reading different books than what mom chose, which is totally fine with me. Yes, so overall, we had a great month. We have a couple of weeks before our next break, and that's really exciting. I think that the kids have been very happy to have as much time as I have allotted for their passion projects, and making it a priority to get them to formulate their ideas and have kind of not an outline or a schedule, but just to talk to them about their passion projects. What are they working on? I'm really trying to check in with them more so that I know what they're doing, obviously, and so that it keeps them on task and helps them to finish a project and not just think about, oh, I just really enjoy coding or I just like drawing. What is the goal? What is the thing that you're trying to do with this particular project? So overall, I'm really happy with how everything has been going. I hope that you guys had a great January as well. I know that January, February, they can be very long, very cold months. And if you are struggling, it's okay to take a step back and to, focus on one thing. My focus every day is mostly reading, writing, and math. I want to make sure that we are hitting on those topics the most because I find that those are the most important topics, and then everything else is kind of just icing on the cake. I do obviously want to get to those things, and I do get to those things, but if we're having a particularly difficult season, I am okay with stepping way back and really focusing on everybody's mental health and figuring out ways to make forward steps, to have forward momentum, but not stress everybody out so much. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was informative or helpful to you in some way. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments, or you can always email me. My contact form is always in the description box. Again, I would love for you to check out our Patreon community. We are small but mighty right now, and I would love for you to join us over there. Thank you again for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.